Welcome, everybody, to Fall River Media. I'm your host, Dave Mead, um, Fall River Media News. I usually don't do a Sunday show, but I missed a couple of Wednesdays. Because I got caught, I was pretty busy on doing things, but I want to talk about the tickets that people were getting just a couple of days ago when they woke up early in the morning. I mean, wow, that's a big surprise. People a getting $125 ticket. I'm kind of like I'm really curious about these tickets that were passed out. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm really curious about that. You know, were they passed out because of Uh, the construction, the $125 tickets. I mean, that is a little uh, that's bizarre. You know what I'm saying? Passing out tickets like that. You know what I'm saying? Um, I don't even know if anybody out there could fill me in on a little bit of it. What these tickets were for? Were they, uh, because of the construction? I don't really know. So I need someone to actually fill me in on this, because that's I did mention it to one of the uh, city councilors, and basically I didn't get no feedback on that too either. So um, but and yeah, $125 ticket. Wow, that is a that's something that wow, $125. Wow, just imagine, you know what I'm saying? Just imagine you waking up early in the morning and finding $125 ticket on your uh, windshield wipers, and it's like, okay, where did this $125 ticket come from? You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah. Actually, I mean, I'm not going to mention any names, but somebody gave me the information a couple of days ago. So, but today I just wanted, to have the time to reach out to everyone and ask, you know, what was the $25 ticket for? You know what I'm saying? $125 ticket. What was it for? I mean, it because construction, because I know we have signs up everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Some places, no parking because of the street cleaners, uh, or construction. So I really basically, yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. You know what I'm saying? The $125 ticket, that people got, in the city of Fall River. So, if anybody knows anything about it, I mean, please let me know, uh, because I heard it a few days ago, but I just wanted to actually. I didn't have time to talk about it, so I have time today, to talk about it. So yeah, that's $125. I think people paying $125 ticket is a little too much. You know what I'm saying? A little too much. Um, but I did speak to city council, Michael Canuel, uh, about the ticket, but I have no response back. So, um, but I also, you know, uh, you know, was talking about, a cameras, being put up on Wade Street between Fourth and Wade, because I re between Fourth and uh, Rodman and Wade Street, because of what happened over there on Wade Street. Um, my mom, okay, on Wade Street, okay, you know, and it happened right on. It happened right on her block, okay, and and my mom was actually walking her dog, okay, and she was walking her dog, and guy pushed her down on the ground, and so and so I talked to councilor. I reached out to city councilor Michael Canuel, he's a great guy. Okay, um, I had the pleasure, having a conversation with him about it, and he says he's going to talk to the chief of police, uh, about my concerns, because Wade Street don't have cameras over there at all. Okay, and Wade Street is a bad that is a bad neighborhood. Okay, um, I remember when we used to have Al's Variety Store over there, and there used to be cameras over there. But I guess since Al Variety Store, left, I guess he shut the cameras off. Now we now that there is another store over there, okay. Now that there is another store over there, there's no cameras over there at all. Okay, and so me and city council Canuel, we've been, we had a conversation about it. So he's going to talk to the chief of police, and he's going to voice my concerns to him, and and he's because it's not right. Okay, the coward of the person who pushed my mother down, down on the ground. Okay, the coward that person is, whoever he is. Okay, he's a coward, plain English. Okay, that pushed my mother. Okay, down on the ground from behind when she was walking her dog in her neighborhood. Okay, the coward that he is, whoever he is. You know, that's my mother. Okay, I'm her son. So, and it's sad. Okay, when a coward, okay, that goes in, attacks an elderly woman from behind and pushes her down the ground. Okay, and then runs away like a coward that he is. So, I hope you're having fun, because you're gonna get caught. Okay, whoever you are. You know, And remember, I'm her son, okay? And, who would honestly push an 80-year-old woman down on the ground and run away like the coward that they are? I remember when I ran for city council. Okay, when I ran for city council. Okay, when I ran for city council, this happened to my grandmother once. Okay, when my grandmother was going to the bank. Okay, someone. Okay, someone did the same thing. Okay, pushed her down, my grandmother, and robbed him and robbed whatever she had in their pocketbook. But and good thing my grandmother they only had $1, okay, in her pocket. Those of those of had $1 in their pocket, okay, and he went to go brag about it, okay. But let me tell you, he bragged to the wrong person, okay. He bragged to my dad, okay. So I mean, it's karma. It's what it is. So he bragged to my father, but and I told and I when I was running for city council, I was on a committee, and I told them, I said, look, I said, what are you going to do about this? You know what I'm saying? You know, I said, if you don't do anything about it now, okay, what's going to happen? It's going to get worse. And now it was my mother. Okay, you know, my mom. I care about my mom so much. I care about my mom a lot. Okay, I love my mom. Okay, and it breaks my heart to hear. Okay, it breaks my heart to hear that somebody, some coward went up behind her when she was walking her dog in her neighborhood and push it down the ground. Okay, it breaks my heart. It does. You know that is you know it's sad to say. Okay, okay, that we have cowards among us that like to pick on an elderly woman. We have cowards out there, okay? And but that's okay. You know, God don't sleep. When you push my mother, when you push my mother down on the ground, and there was nobody around to help my mother up from the ground. God, you know what? God saw it. He saw it. Okay. He saw you push that elderly woman on the ground when she's walking her dog. God saw it. So, but I did speak to Canuel about it, And I think I did speak to City Council Canuel about it, and he's going to talk to the chief, and the chief will decide whether um, he'll want to show force in that area or put cameras up in that area. So, because Wade Street is a bad area. Okay, it is. That is a bad area. I went by there a couple of times, and let me tell you, I mean, the roads are horrible, but I mean, it's the crime rate, it's the crime that's making it horrible. Okay, you get people coming down from Boston. Okay, you get people coming down from Boston, and you get people coming down from Boston, moving into Fall River. Okay, it's because of I'm just going to say, I don't even think this train was a good idea. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Okay, so you got people moving in down here, and now we got Boston's crime. Okay, we got Boston, and I never in my whole entire life, okay, ever saw a city so busy. Okay, I mean, we got people moving out of Fall River. Okay, people talk about people talk about tourism. You people talking about putting nice things in here. Well, let me tell you something. Okay, clean up the bloody damn crime first. Okay, clean it up first before you decide to put anything in here. Okay, clean it up. Okay, and this message is for Mayor Paul Coogan. Clean. You worry about market rate housing. Okay, you worry about you're raising taxes on property owners and everything. Okay, I sent the letter in the mail to Mayor Paul Coogan. Okay, I sent that letter into his office. Okay, and and let me tell you something. I did not get a response from him at all. I want a response from him because that letter was sent to him. I even gave a copy to Canuel, okay? Michael Canuel, Christopher Peckham, okay? I even post that letter online. I want a response from Coogan, okay? Okay? I want a response from him. I demand a response, okay? Because it's not right, okay? I sent the letter and I didn't get a response from him whatsoever. Not from that letter. Okay. Okay. I did not get a response. Okay. From him at all. Okay. And I did express my concerns to Canuel. And I want to thank Michael Canuel for responding, calling me back on this issue. Okay. Michael Canuel, great guy. He's a father. Okay. He's a dad. Okay. And he called me back on these issues. I want to thank Michael Canuel for that. Okay. I mean, the only thing we can do is voice our concerns to the city council. Okay. And what they do is they take those concerns and they bring them to the chief. I don't know the chief personally, okay, but those concerns for the chief is accurate, okay, because they can't really do anything. Okay, the council can't really do anything except gather concerns on what what people's concern. But I want to thank Michael Canuel for them for that calling me back and talking to me twice. He did. Okay, twice he did. Okay, he called back. And I want to thank him for that. Okay, for calling me back. And and he did took a copy of that letter because I knew that Mayor Paul Coogan wasn't going to get back to me, or he wasn't going to send any letter in the mail regarding the letter I sent him. Okay, the snake that he is. Okay, I would expect a response from the mayor's office. Okay, as a taxpayer of the city of Fall River, I would expect a letter from the mayor's office regarding that letter, regarding of the concerns. But good thing I post that letter up on Facebook, and I'm glad that I sent that letter to Michael Canuel, Linda Pereira, Cliff Ponte. I'm glad. I'm glad. And I did not hear any response from the mayor's office regarding that letter. Okay. The snake that Coogan is. Okay. When he says, oh, well, we exaggerate. Well, when he says we exaggerate, how in the world are we exaggerating? Okay? How in the world are we exaggerating? Okay? When Flanagan got stabbed and beat up and put in a hospital, okay? We exaggerate. How the heck are we exaggerating? I mean, and he knows that there is stuff going on here in the city. But he doesn't care about listening to what our concerns are. I'm glad we have 2 city councilors on the committee to listen to our concerns. I'm glad for that. I am so happy for it. Okay? I am glad. Okay? And I applaud two city councilors. Okay? Michael Canuel and Chris Peckham. Okay? It's pretty sad that you have to you can't rely on the mayor to get back to you over a letter. I'm glad I posted it up on Facebook. I am so happy that I did. Okay, and I am so happy that Michael Canuel read it. Okay, and got back to me on those issues. Okay, I am glad. You know what I'm saying? I am happy for it. And it's pretty sad that a mayor of the city of Fall River, Mr. Coogan, cannot get back to me or send me some kind of a letter in the mail and say, "Hey, Dave, I'm responding back to you on the letter that you sent me." Okay, so how we trust government, I don't know. How we trust the mayor of the city of Fall River, I don't know. Okay, and I knew he wasn't going to get back to me. Okay, I sent that letter out as if he would get back to me. Now that I know he's a snake. Okay? He's a snake that he is. Okay? You know, and I'm very surprised, okay, because if that was either Jazel or Will Flanagan, they would have gotten back to me regardless. Okay? They would have got me, but they would have gotten back and said, "Hey, look, I'm responding to your letter. You can't respond to a letter that I sent out." Okay, so in other words, what that's telling me, he doesn't care about even listening to the taxpayers or what the taxpayers have to say. Okay, and you know what, CJ and Chip is right. Okay, he is a snake. Okay, get back to the taxpayers. Okay, yeah, just a little reminder. You know, transparency means a lot to get back to the taxpayers. Okay, and you have transparency. Okay, it means a lot when a taxpayer is reaching out and you ignore the letter. Okay, and say, all right, well, let's rip this up and throw this in the trash. I don't care about the taxpayers. I don't care. I don't care what they have to say. Well, good thing I have two city councilors, okay, that was on board with that letter. Michael Kenya was one of them. Okay. I'm glad he was. He was one of them. And I want to thank him for that. Okay. Okay. And you know what? If he runs for city council again, I'll guarantee you he'll get my vote. Okay. I'll guarantee it. Okay. And Chris Peckham, I want to thank him for, sending a letter out. Sending a letter out. But there was a certain person that got jealous about the letter, but I won't mention any names. Yeah. But but again, you know what I'm saying? Public safety is one of the biggest things, okay, and that matters. And especially when you have people preying on the elderly, okay? Preying on the elderly. My mom's a pretty strong woman, okay? She is. And you know what? I love my mother very much. Okay? I do. I do. I honestly do. I love my mom very much. And it breaks my heart to hear, okay? Even my mom, when my mom told me to forget it, okay? There's something in my heart that I cannot forget it, okay? When somebody pushes her down the ground, okay? I cannot forget it. She tells me, but I can't. A lot of times I cannot be there for my mom, but a lot of times I cannot be there for her, but I totally love my mom. You know what I'm saying? And those of you that don't have a mom, okay, a lot of people don't, and I'm grateful that I have her still around. So I just want to, say that, you know what I'm saying? But I'm sure a lot of you, if somebody, pushed your mom down on the ground, I'm sure you'd be upset too about it. And it's because of this damn age. Okay. And people like that, don't have any respect for the elderly. Okay. That don't have any respect for the elderly. So, like I said, just a coward that he was, or he or she, whoever pushed my mother down, I'm just going to say you're a coward. Okay, you are a coward, and that's it. That's all I'm going to call you, is a coward. And you got to go and back of somebody and push somebody down from behind when they're not looking. Wow, that shows whoever you are, okay, you're not a man at all. You're a coward. I'm just letting you know. You're a coward. And I tell you, I don't have any more words to say. But I'm just going to sit here and smile and just call you a coward. A coward that you are. You're not a man. You're a bitch. That's what you are. So, uh, let's see. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I did talk to Canuel about it. He's going to talk to the. He's going to talk to the chief, and see if they can, put cameras up. See if they can put cameras. See if they can put cameras up. In that area, which is that would be nice. So that way my mom can be safe, my aunt can be safe. Okay. And so that way that block, they can keep an eye on that block over there. But so just wanted to say, thanks again to Michael Canuel. You know, because my brother and me and my brother, sometimes we're busy. You know what I'm saying? We can't always be there. You know what I'm saying? And we can't always be there. My brother and I can't always be there. You know, but it breaks my heart that somebody picks on the elderly a lot. You know what I'm saying? So it's sad. You know what I'm saying? And for me, I'm very close to my mother. Okay, I care about her deeply. You know what I'm saying? You know, I care about her deeply, and I just want to let people know how I feel. And it's sad when somebody does that to an elderly woman. Okay, um, when I was young, when I was a kid, okay, we always we always were taught have respect, okay, and respect comes a long ways, okay. you know I've always taught how to you know um, walk an elderly across the street when she needs it, okay, and don't and sometimes they'll even offer you, here, here's a few dollars or thank you. No, something. I don't walk. I when I was a kid, I never ever walked anybody across the street for an elderly for money. I've always, there you go. I walk her across the street, and that's it, and help her across the street. Okay. We always had respect for the elderly. Okay, because we are all going to get old some days. Okay, we are all going to get old, and when you get old, okay, you're probably gonna like, oh gee, you know what, I wonder if I'm gonna get pushed down on the ground. Okay, I wonder if I'm gonna get pushed down the ground. You know what I'm saying? You don't do that to an elderly woman at all. You don't do that. Okay, you have respect. Respect comes a long ways. Okay? Respect. You know, if you don't have respect for anybody, okay? If you don't have any respect for anybody, then you might as well be by yourself. So that's my message today. So, like I said, the coward that you are, you're going to be a coward because that's all you like to do is push elderly women from behind. And especially when it's my mom. Okay. And I care about her. So whoever it was, you know. But anyways, you know, if nobody's I know somebody out there might have saw it. You know what I'm saying? You know, my mom tells me to forget about it, but no, I'm not gonna forget about it. You know, because I'm her oldest. I'm her oldest son, and I care about her. So, I mean, if you ever see my mom out in the community, okay, have respect for her. Treat her just like if she was your mother. Yeah, so just treat her just like if she was, treat her like if she was your mother. Okay? And yeah, but again, I did talk to Canuel. He's going to talk to the chief, and so he's going to try to, see what the chief wants to do. Maybe the chief will show some force in that area on 200 Wade Street, or maybe he'll put cameras up there. One of the two. But anyways, yeah. But again, I just wanted to come on and talk about the letter. You know, um, talk about the letter that I sent to also to Coogan, and I didn't get no response back from that letter. Okay. So I probably won't get a response from him, but I hope he does give me the response that I need. So just hey, well, Dave, hey, I saw your letter, um, I saw your letter, and and hoping, and just hope that he would say and have somebody write it back and say and and respond back to me. Okay, because if that was Mayor Wolf Flanagan, he'd respond back. If that was Jazel, he'd respond back. So anyways, it's 7:38, and I just want to again thank Michael Canuel for reaching out a few times. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And you know what? You're gonna get my vote next year. You're gonna get my vote in 2 years again when you run again, hopefully. And also Chris Peckham is the reason why I'm going to give Chris Peckham a vote, because he sent me a letter in the mail. He responded back to me in the mail. So again, the coward that person is that pushed my mom. So I mean, you're a coward. So anyway, have a great day, everybody. I will speak to you on Wednesday. I'm sorry about Wednesdays because sometimes I get caught up in my busy schedules. I get caught up in the busy schedules. So I just wanted to actually come on and let you guys know what was going on. You know what I'm saying? And all. But if you guys hear anything out there, because I know some people like to brag, you know what I'm saying? So, um, but please let me know. Okay. Um, but I just wanted to say this, Mom. I love you very much. Okay. I do, and I hope you know. I love you very much. So take care, everybody. Have a great day. So is my brother. I care about my bro. I care about my brother too, very much. Okay, he's my little brother, even though he's a pain in the neck sometimes. But you know, um, I do care about my brother. Okay, so take care, everybody. Have a great night, and hope that Mayor Paul Coogan responds to my letter and sends it to me. So take care. Dave Mead, Follow Media News.